we're going to talk about some of the choices that David Gilmour makes when he's playing guitar. Choices meaning scale patterns, the way he uses effects, vibrato, all of those, all the different things that makes his style unique. So we listened to a clip. What was the clip? The clip was Evan asked about this. He said "Coming Back to Life," the first solo, and so he had everyone listen to that. And then I asked, "Well, what would you say that sounded like? How did that make you feel when you heard his playing?" And here's some of the things that were said. It was atmospheric. It was expressive. Someone said it was lyrical. The next one was that he plays with a lot of space in his playing, and has a very vocal quality to his playing. That's very that's what you want, man. You know, that's the goal, to really get emotions across and create a whole feel with your guitar playing. Um, so I, how does he do that? How does he make that happen? That's what we need to know. We need to know what are the choices he makes, and what are the tools that he uses to get that atmospheric lyrical quality. So the first thing we want to talk about is space. Making your guitar sound big. Space is area, not space as like leaving holes. We'll talk about that in a second, but bigness of the guitar. How does one do that? How do you make your guitar sound like it's taking up a lot of room? Most times you hear a guitar, if it doesn't have any effects on it, it sounds thin, and you try to beef it up with EQ and all of those different things, and it never quite gets to his type sound. So one of the biggest things that he uses to make that happen is delay. He uses a lot of delay, and it sets the mood of the song, especially with the coming back to life. That beginning, it's just over a keyboard, a bed of keyboard music. That's it's almost soundtrack like. It's very atmospheric, and it blended in so well. His delay sounds like he's in an enormous hall or room. So delay is one of the first things that he uses for that. Another thing he uses to make it sound more vocal is the way he sets his pedals and his amps and his guitars up. He plays on the edge of breakup, and I'm gonna put a link to the YouTube video that Coming Back to Life in the show notes. Haven't done that yet, but I'll do that by the time this goes out. And you can hear exactly what we're talking about. He can dig in with his pick. Let's see here. And when he plays clean, softer, it comes out clean. So on that note, I have the gain set so that when I play hard, you get some sustain, but when I play soft, it's almost like a singer with a raspy voice when they push the melodies, that it just breaks up ever so slightly and gives a very warm sound to it. And so he sets his guitars up, not all the time. He has some solos where he's just full on saturated distortion, which are fine too. But I think his most expressive is where he's got that kind of half clean, half distorted sound. What's the problem with that though is sometimes you don't have a whole lot of sustain. So he also uses a compressor pedal to give a lot of sustain to even his clean sounds. So you get that kind of compression when you crank your amp anyway. But adding that compressor in there really seems to just last and last and last, which gives that kind of smooth atmospheric sound too. Another thing he uses that vibrato, taking notes, a very wide vibrato, not a short, fast one. And that's with the left. That's not the fretting hand, whether you're left-handed or right-handed. The fretting hand. But he also achieves that with the whammy bar too. He plays Stratocasters a lot, but he also played a Steinberger that had one of those really fancy tremolos on there. He makes a lot of use of a tremolo, and I don't have that set up on my guitar, but uses the same thing, even for whole chords, you know, or different lines. That wide, slow vibrato that gives a very atmospheric, expressive sound. Let's talk about bending notes. That's one of the other playing choices that he uses to get the effect. A vocal sound. So we're talking about the vocal part of it. When you bend, his bends you tend to be slower. He's not like a rock and roll bend. His bends tend to go up a whole step. From all the ones that I'm not saying that for every song, but for all the ones that I've take a look at, his bends will usually be very slow, and they go a whole step underneath and go up into the note. And sometimes he'll match that on the next string with the payoff note. So right now I'm bending the D note on the G string, which is on the 7th fret, and when I bend it up a whole step, it's going to sound like the 9th fret, the E note. Well, you've got an E note where your first finger is on the 5th fret right here. And so that really, really, really pays off well when you take your time with those bends. It really gives a vocal quality. The voice tends to swoop into notes anyway. So that lends to his vocal, expressive, atmospheric sound. But there's another part to it. It's still rock and roll. It's Pink Floyd, you know, it's that kind of style, but he still has a rock and roll, a blues sensibility to his sound. He's not playing, like we saw with Joe Satriani, he's not playing extremely technical. He's playing a very pentatonic based sound. He will use the pentatonics in a certain way, and then when it's effective when he wants to get more melodic, he'll start adding the notes in from the full major scale or the minor scale, depending on the song that he's using. You don't hear David Gilmour playing a lot of outside sounds. He doesn't play a lot of tension notes at all. He stays very melodic. So that's one of the reasons why people love his playing so much. He's a very inside player. Most of the tension that he gets is from those bends and from the tone, you know, the distortions and things like that. Thanks so much for watching my video today. I just want to make sure that you head on over to freeblueslesson.com and sign up for my free 6-part video course. It's called Get Your Blues Solos Under Control. So thankful for you watching my videos today and also subscribing to the channel. Make sure you check out the other videos in the series, and I'll see you real soon.